Hey YouTube, continuing the close-up thing. Here is my bass. This is my 1986, I think, if I remember correctly. Schecter P bass. One of the A serial numbers. So this was assembled in the Dallas era. It's called, using the original Van Nuys California parts. So Schecter were in the late 70s were actually officially licensed Fender replacement parts company where you could get like a neck for a 50s P bass, because in the 80s you couldn't buy a neck for a 50s. You could buy a Fender neck. I don't even know if they sold them individually. You maybe had to buy the whole guitar, but they made bits. So made up of bits. So this I suppose it's got one of those anodized aluminium scratch plates, like a brushed aluminium scratch plate, which is totally cool. Love it. DiMarzio pickup, got a push pull pot with a boost system in it, but if you have it pulled up, it's just passive, so it runs as a passive bass as well. Schecter branded brass, Schecter branded but made by Scholler in Germany. Bridge, you can still buy this bridge now. So it's got like wheels. It's like a roller bridge, I suppose you would say, but the roller's on a thread. So if you've got like awkward string spacing like that, a bass with awkward string spacing, you can basically buy this bridge and you can squeeze to there, or you can expand to there, so you've got a bit of play in it. You know, if you've got a weird string spacing, just top loaded. The body, I don't know if you can see condition of it. A lot of this color is ridiculous. It's exactly the same as my. It's kind of much darker, purplier than it looks at first. It seems to change color depending on how you look at it. It's stunning. Look at the, somebody spent ages with a razor blade and to get the lacquer to crack like that, the nitro to crack like that. No, it's just old. You can see it's had a wee bit of a life. The neck is the most stunning bird's eye maple. Honestly, it was when I got it. I wore it out quite a lot though. It's kind of on the I gigged this bass, and I didn't pay that. See, that damage there is a bit that really annoys me, because that was all from one rehearsal where I decided I bought a violin bow thinking that I could do some ha ha ha, and it did. It worked quite well, but it basically sanded off the edge. One day I would like to get this maybe refurbed. I don't know if there's wee bits you can maybe see that's bird's eye. You can't. It's all over. So see, like any bit you can find that isn't Schecter branded tuners. Any bit that's not pure knackered, you can sort of see the bird's eye, but it's all the way through it. I do love this bass. I have an issue with the truss rod though. It won't quite go enough. Like, just annoyingly, just not quite. I mean, it's only that's the truss rod at full, and it's. You can see that it's got a bit in it. It's just a little bit like that. Just see if I could just get another quarter turn on it, but I can't because I don't want to break it. It's a one-piece maple neck as well, so the frets are going into the neck, so that skunk stripe is real. I was using this in the Sabbath band last week. I've got it with light strings on it, tuned to C sharp, thinking that would make the neck a bit straighter, which to be honest it did. It just makes it. It's incredibly bendy. But there was a good, I don't know, quite a few years where this was my only bass. When I put my Epiphone SG in, as I put it down as a deposit on this. So I had 2 weeks without a bass, and then I had this for a couple of years until I got the Music Master. My pal was selling the Fender Music Master, the 78 one, and at a price I just couldn't say no to. And at that time it was like, well, having a spare bass probably isn't a bad idea, so I had a spare bass. Now I've got a couple of spare basses. Who said that? Yeah. So if you ever see, I mean, you don't see these anymore. I think these kind of disappeared at the start of the internet. You see them for crazy money. Like if you take the neck off this, it depends what year it's from, but then they did much fancier stuff. Like this is kind of a bit of a plain Jane as far as Schecters go. Although the neck was stunning when I got it. I'm sure it could be sanded down and refinished, and I bet you it would look as good as it Used to. I haven't done that though. People pay a lot of money for the Relicon. So I gigged this heavy for a few bands. And yes, I bought the best bass first. This, I was 20 or something like that, 21. I had this bass and I had the 400 watt Marshall stack with a 15-inch 15-inch cab and a 4x10 cab and a 400 watt head. And this, yeah, it was a powerhouse. Yes. So I don't know. I always feel a wee bit sad with this one, just because it's not 100%. That wee niggle with the truss rod's there, you can see it in there, and it's like, because it's like not an Allen key, it's like a flathead screwdriver. It's kind of, you don't know how. I know how hard I could turn an Allen key. When you're using it as a lever, it's like, oh no, that's going to break. I'll stop. Whereas that, you're kind of twisted. It's a completely different thing. I just don't want to damage it. It's one of those things. I could almost send it into. You think, cause I don't want to do it, so I could just take it into Jim Egypt or something like that. But he's just going to do the same as me, and it's like, I'm just, yeah. I'm always a wee bit sad with this one just because of that. But I mean, because if not, it would just be the best bass in the world. I don't need anything else. My God, the strings are light. Yep, so there you go, Schecter P-Bass 1986, I think I worked it out at one point. But as I said, these are rarity to rarity. I think this is the only one. Schecter didn't actually make guitars at this point. They tried a few years later. The Mafia took them over, and then they produced guitars, and Fender went, ahem, no. So, as you'll notice, this has the 54 Telecaster headstock, because it is a replica of, it's designed for that type of P-Bass, as a Fender actual efficient replacement parts thing. So you can always tell the earlier Schecters from the fact that they've got Fender headstocks, because they were actually officially licensed. This has nothing to do with the Modern Diamond series. This is made in California. This is not one of the really expensive ones. The really expensive ones are normally made of the most ridiculously endangered wood. But so this was basically assembled in a shop in Dallas by Rudy Pensa and Sir and Tom Anderson all worked in the shop assembling this, so it was probably built by one of them. As in, Schecter supplied all the bits to build a bass, but part of their licensing deal was you're not going to sell actual guitars, so they never sold actual guitars. But there was a shop in America, in Dallas, that did assemble guitars out of all the parts they sold. So there might be one the same as this. There might be one. There obviously will be other bodies like this, other necks like this, other scratch, but not necessarily in this exact combination. My Telecaster's the same. It's a slightly. This is quite an early one. A2487. I think the Telecaster's 1700 and something. Ultimately, there's not that many of them. But to be honest, I bought this because I tried. It was either this or it was a 1975 jazz bass in cream with a black scratch plate, which looked really lovely. It was £100 more, and this was just twice as good, straight up twice as good a bass. So I bought this thinking, it's better than a Fender, but cost a third as much. Not anymore. I don't know what these go for. You see them around thousands, basically. I think. Rock on. Thousands if the neck wasn't in this condition it was. But it's got character, and it's mine. I've had it for 20, 30 years.